From as we speak, it'll switch from us to you. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is our music psychology training webinar in which we'll be answering your questions and discussing amongst ourselves some aspects of the program, and hopefully get some of you interested in applying to one of our programs. First one being music therapy, or second is music mind and technology. So my name is Marc Thompson. I'm a senior lecturer at the University of Jyväskylä, and mostly focusing on the music mind and technology side. My colleague Esa Alaruona is the one who is coordinating the music therapy program, but many of our students share courses and work together often. So there's lots of collaboration between the program. That's basically why we're the two international programs within the music department here. That's basically why we decided to kind of group those two programs together. So there's a bit of overlap between each of the programs. So now what I can do is I could just start off by telling a bit about myself, and I'll introduce the others who are here, and then I'll go into speaking a bit about the program. And then you can start submitting whatever question you may have for us right now. We've received some before, and we'll probably go over some of the questions we got this morning as well. So there'll be some overlap with this morning's meeting, but we'll also be discussing about other things as they come up. So yeah, so I'm Marc. I'm originally from Canada. I'm from Montreal, Canada, the French-speaking side of Canada. And I've been in Finland about 10 years, and I'm actually an alumni of the Music Mind Technology program. The first year was being run. Let's quickly go through the other four people here, and just introduce yourselves and maybe where you're from and what you're studying.
Okay, so I'm Tracy Dempsey. You don't need my surname. I'm Tracy. I'm from Ireland, studying music mind and technology.
I'm Jenna. I'm from the US, studying music therapy.
I'm Felix. I'm from Germany, studying music therapy.
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm from Australia, and I'm in the Music Mind Technology program.
I feel like this is University Challenge team. No hard questions.
All right. Yeah, that was the easy question. Okay. So I can start by talking a bit about the Department of Music at the University of Jyväskylä is part of the Faculty of Humanities. The university's had a Department of Music since 1968. There are four core subjects in our department, focusing on musicology, music education, music therapy, and this music mind and technology program. There's a staff of 35 faculty, and roughly a little bit over 300 students. There are 60 postgraduate students, so there are 60 PhD students. And we're a partner of the Finnish Music Campus, which means that we collaborate a lot with the Jyväskylä University of Applied Sciences, which is located about 200 meters from the Department of Music. So what that means is that our department focuses mainly on musicology, music education, like subjects that kind of gravitate around music, but not actually music making. So that's covered by the University of Applied Sciences. So that's why we collaborate with them a lot. And we also have a lot of students studying in both schools at the same time. So the music therapy and the music mind and technology program, they're master's programs, they're international, which means that they're taught in English and they're targeted towards people who aren't from Finland. Although, of course, Finns are able to join as well. So it ends up being a nice mixture of Finnish students and international students. It's taught entirely in English. And it's a 2-year international master's program. Currently, we have students from 18 different countries. And our next application will be December well, it begins next week, actually. You can start submitting your application next week, and the application round closes in January. I think it's January 20th. Both international programs are part of the research focus of the department. So in the Department of Music, we have a Center for Interdisciplinary Music Research. It focuses on different types of musicology. Some people call it systematic musicology, or like empirical musicology. So there are things that studies that have to do with musicianship, and also a large portion of it is on music education, focusing on technology and music education. So new types of musical interfaces that can be used to teach music, for example, new types of musical software that can be used. There's a large body of work from our department on music and emotions, and also the developmental psychology of music. So this is kind of the social aspect of music, how people interact with music in their day-to-day lives, and also how people might, especially some research being done with teenagers in our department, how they interact with music and how they use music as a form of mood regulation in their daily lives. So this is kind of like the sociology of music that we focus on a little bit in our department. There are also some people doing music computing. So music computing is just this umbrella term for all things related to music information retrieval research. Music information retrieval is this area of research that that analyzes aspects of music that we might not, that perceptually we might not be so aware of, and it's a field that extracts different features from music computationally and does things like finding connections between music and categorizing music based on these computational features. We also have some research being done on music and movement. So in our department, we have an optical tracking machine from the Qualisys company. So we have a set of 12 infrared cameras that capture human movement at a very high temporal and spatial resolution. And we do studies on the movements of music as they're playing, of movements of musicians as they're playing. And also we study dance, so we study synchronization to music. So for example, what type of movements do people use to synchronize to music? Apart from that, we also have music and neuroscience branch. This is done a lot in collaboration with some colleagues from the psychology department at the University of Helsinki. And so this has to do with discovering in the brain, using data from fMRI machines or EEG machines, what parts of the brain are activated when we listen to music. And of course, we have a big area focused on music therapy. So one of our key aims is to have a focus on interdisciplinarity. So we tend to look for students with different backgrounds, and we kind of like to put different people with different backgrounds into the same group and kind of see what comes out. So we're interested in people with a background in musicology, music education, music technology, psychology, and we've also taken students with a background in computer science. And so we value students that have a pure humanities background just as much as we value students that have a technology or a scientific background. And the idea is that we can put these different types of people together, have them work together in a group, and kind of see what happens. But we like to have people that'll work well together, and we're looking for people who can fulfill these to bring some some sort of background to a group, so a speciality to the group. But we'll talk more about that later as it comes up. So also we have lots of labs in our department, small department. Yeah, we have an EEG lab, we have a motion capture lab, we have a functioning music therapy clinic, and a music technology lab. So these are all things that we can discuss a little bit more as we go on. And also, I'll put a link to these slides that I've been reading off of in the comments as we go around. So now I'd like to pass it around to you guys. Tracy and Jenna and Felix and Josh, and just tell me what you were doing before you entered the program, and what is it about your background that motivated you to apply to the program.
Cool. I guess you'll find that we all have pretty diverse backgrounds. I was in a good position, I guess, because I did both a Bachelor of Music studying classical voice and a Bachelor of Science studying psychology. So I kind of approached music psychology from both angles. And when I finished my bachelor's thesis, I guess I was just looking for a program that would allow me to bring those two subjects that I'd been studying separately together. And I was delighted to find that music psychology was a thing that people could do, and that there was a free master's program in Finland to study it. So I looked at a couple of options, because there are a few, I guess, slightly similar programs around the world, but this is, I guess, the only one that's free. It's the only one that has access to the kind of facilities that we have here in the motion capture lab, because I was really interested in doing research into music and movement. And I'd also come across a lot of the research that had come through this department from people like Marc. So I was sort of jumped at the opportunity to actually come and study here with them. Yeah, I guess that's me.
Oh.
Yeah, I studied sociology and politics before in Germany, so I hold a master's in social science, but I come more from the social scientific research background, but I also work partly as a social worker with criminal teenagers, and I'm a musician. And I was always very interested in music therapy, but it never occurred me to, like, at least in Germany, to go for a program there. And as I've been to Finland before and to Jyväskylä before, I knew about, well, this very university and about this program, and find that it combines the music therapy part here, combines this research aim of me and also the practical part in a very, very nice fit together. And so I ended up to basically give it a try, and here I am. So that's for me so far.
Yeah, so I studied music therapy for my bachelor's already, and I was working as a music therapist mostly with children with disabilities, and I wanted to get a master's, get more training, and focus more on psychotherapy, and had read research from this university in my bachelor's years ago, and yeah, it was the perfect opportunity to focus on psychotherapy, travel, get this kind of interdisciplinary experience.
And for me, I was running a business in coaching and training since 2007. I was primarily motivated by travel and going and living somewhere else, and kind of discovered by chance that there were free music or free master's courses being offered in various countries in the world. Talking to my partner, he said the only one he'd be interested in was music therapy, and the only place that was taught free and in English was here in Jyväskylä. I was prepared to study psychology or music, but happily there is the Music, Mind and Technology course here that combined the two. So like Josh, I was delighted to see that it was a thing, this music psychology. I had been using music in my work on well-being with kids, with adults. I've been involved in a lot of community arts as a musician and as a volunteer. So it's been a perfect kind of culmination of many different strands in my life, including my business. And it's just turned out to be a very serendipitous adventure.
Okay, good. So as you can see, lots of diverse backgrounds and lots of different reasons for attending the program here. I see we already have some questions coming up. Maybe we can, answer them as we go, and see what happens. There's a question here that reads, I'm interested in music technology, which is applicable to smartphones or wearable devices. Does MMT have collaborative courses with applied computer science? At the moment, Tracy has her hand up.
I've got Nico from the MMT program on chat here at the same time, so he's feeding in his responses to some of the questions specifically about MMT.
Okay.
And he said that MMT directly doesn't have collaborative courses, but interdisciplinary projects with students from other master's courses, as well as IT students, are offered by the faculty. And as a student, you can also participate participate in open IT courses at the university.
So I guess there is quite a good computer science department here at the university. So I suppose if you found people to work with, you could set it up on your own.
Yeah, for that kind of thing, it's not something that's really happened much in the past, but actually the program is very flexible in what you want to do. So if you wanted to do some collaboration with the computer science department, that'd probably be possible. So I'd say yes, although I don't think there's, in the department directly, there might not be some expert on this particular topic. But that's not to say that you wouldn't be able to pursue that project. Okay, I think next question is for some music therapist, which is a big question that we get for this program, I think. So my question is, are you entitled to work as a music therapist with that master's program? And comparing it to in Austria, the program is different, and I fear that it might not be equivalent. So it's not it won't get you, it won't lead you to becoming a licensed music therapist. Is that right?
Well, it also depends on the standards in your country. I don't know about Austria. It may be similar to Germany.
I can imagine that it might be similar to Germany. And in Germany, it's the case that with this master's, you are entitled to work as a music therapist, not as a music psychotherapist, because we have a very strict distinction between these two fields. I can imagine that it might be equal in Austria, but this is something you might have to find out.
So it'd be good to just contact whoever's in charge of the the standards of qualifications in Austria. There may be an Austrian Music Therapy Association or something. So before I came here, I contacted the American Music Therapy Association and kind of saw how this would serve me and how it would be limiting and whatever. But yeah, if nothing else, it'll help you towards where you need to be, and hopefully it will be not too different than what Austria requires.
And for the recording, it's probably worth adding what would the situation be if you stayed in Finland?
Yeah, and also in the United States. In the US, you have to have what's certification called an MTBC, Music Therapist Board Certified. And this program, it doesn't hurt you, like it gets you closer to that, but you may in the US have to talk to the board there and take a few classes and take a test to be equivalent. And then in Finland, you can't work as a music therapist after this program. You have to do a 3-year clinical training program that's totally separate.
And taught in Finnish.
Yeah, so it's actually impossible to work as a music therapist as a non-Finn after this program. But that's really the only country where it's impossible.
I don't think it's impossible. If you're very
challenging.
It's challenging, yeah. So if you're up for going for learning Finnish fluently, and then go to the Einoudvoiha Foundation, which also is doing the education here in our clinic. So you would be at the right place if you want to stay in Finland, but that's challenging probably.
So the best answer is look into the qualifications in your country and ask some questions with who's in charge there.
Yes. And in Europe, the programs and also the associations, the national associations are very well connected. And they might know if you say, hey, I want to go to the program in Jyväskylä in Finland, does this program enable me to work here in Austria or wherever you want to work then? They might know.
That's true. Most of the universities kind of know about each other. So if you kind of look into a university in your own country and say, oh, I may go to Finland, they'll probably know based on the curriculum. The music therapy community is very tight in the world, actually. Yeah. So the director of the Music Therapy Association of the United States knows about the program here and the professors here and the curriculum here, and she was able to guide me.
Yeah, so based in the music therapy program, based on your current class, what do you get an idea of what the different motivations were to come to Finland from your peers? Because I think are any of them licensed music therapists?
Only there's two, myself and a woman from the Netherlands. And we both wanted, I wanted kind of more in-depth clinical practice, and Marcia wanted the same and more research, foundational research skills. And all the others wanted to be music therapists.
Well, my partner's in the music therapy course, and he was working with assistive technologies for people with disabilities of various types. So it wasn't music therapy, but it was music for wellbeing project, I suppose. So he wanted to take a more formal education then in music therapy, and we will have the same research to do because we're moving to Spain next, and we'll have to figure out the path to becoming a music therapist there, where I believe it's currently not regulated. So yeah, people's goals definitely depend on which country they're. Some people are going to choose the country based on the career prospects. Other people are going to choose the career path based on the country that they plan to work in. So there's a lot of variation.
But it is wise to, especially if you know where you want to live, to see what the standards are. And also, if you're interested in psychotherapy, this is a good program. It's very music psychotherapy focused, whereas some programs like in London or in the United States are much more focused on working with people with developmental disabilities.
And what's interesting from what I've read about the UK is that music therapy is highly regulated, but psychotherapy isn't. So you don't need to be registered or licensed to be a psychotherapist, but you do to be a music psychotherapist. So that's an interesting quirk, let's say, in the UK.
But also one interest, of course, is the research part here. Like, as Jenna said, from our classmate from the Netherlands, but also because it's it's like the preparation if you want to go for a PhD or want to continue in the more academic realm, then this is a program to be, definitely.
And you're planning PhD?
Yes, for example. Right. And
in Finland.
Exactly. So if you want to stay in Finland, make a PhD. Come to Finland and make a master's.
You're on the right path.
Exactly.
And Mark, could I actually go back to that previous question about this wearable technology, because I'm just thinking of something else that is linked to that question. So our questioner had said he was interested in smartphone and wearable tech, and he'd asked specifically about computer science, but even within music education and musicology, we're trying to build up more links, and there is a new focus on new musical interfaces and instruments. So for example, Miko, who's taking questions online, he's been developing smart gloves that they've recently demoed at the Slush conference. They see usage for those kind of musical interface gloves in the therapy realm and the music education realm. So they're definitely focused more and more in our MMT program going forward. There will be more of a focus on wearable tech and other kind of smart interfaces. So even with that question of computer science collaborations aside, it's definitely a focus within the music department itself.
Right. Yeah. I might not have been completely accurate, but that's true though. There are some very some people in the department with these skills already working on this project, particularly this glove musical interface or interactive device that allows people to perform music, which might be used for therapy or just for regular music playing.
And people can look that up if they search for Smart Hand Project on Facebook. There's a Facebook page. We will share links as well, but if you want to check it right now, Smart Hand Project is the name for that. They can watch some videos and read more about the project.
Okay, well, this afternoon I got some questions about the application procedure, which I can go through a little bit, and maybe you guys can comment on it as I go. Right now I'm just looking at the how to apply page on our university website. I can just go down through it, maybe give a little bit more detail. So there's application schedule. Well, I guess that's pretty straightforward. The application period is from December 1st and closes the 22nd. It doesn't matter at which date within that time period that you submit your application. We don't really start looking at the applications very closely until after the 22nd. That's just the application period for actually of all of Finland. So when you submit your application, it won't be to the university directly, but it'll be to this national repository or system for university applications. The program will begin in September 2016, so that's when our courses begin. Of course, part of the program is there's actually you have to learn a little bit of Finnish. There's at least one Finnish course that you're going to have to complete successfully to get your degree here. And actually, the reason I mention that is because while our program begins in September, there's actually an intensive Finnish course starting in August. So I definitely recommend to students, accepted students to the program, to plan on coming in August so that they could complete their at least part of their Finnish studies well before they begin anything else. And it's also a good opportunity to get yourself oriented to the town and meet new people. So the eligibility, we accept, for the MMT at least, we accept students with a wide variety of backgrounds. Like I said before, both from the humanities and from the more of the scientific side. One big component of the application is proficiency in English. So the whole course is taught in English. So it's very important that you've passed, if English isn't your native language, it's very important that you've passed at least one of these English proficiency exams, whether it be TOEFL or PTE or IELTS. Fortunately, I don't have any experience with these exams myself, but on our how to apply page, it'll tell you what's the grade that you need to apply. And unfortunately, they're very strict about this. So if you don't, like getting the passing grade on that English exam or not might be the deciding factor whether we can accept you or not, because it's very important that people come here with a certain level of English proficiency. One problem with these exams is that depending on your location, they might be available in your town, or they might be available 3 hours from your town, or whatever it is. So, and then that result has to be included into your application on time by January 22nd. So fortunately, that's a bit of a sticky situation for us. But if you plan on applying and you don't have your English exam yet, really you should get it done within the next few weeks if you want to your application to go smoothly. Okay, required documents for the application. Obviously, we have an application form that you'll fill out on the system. Certified transcript of records. So these are your list of grades from your university or however they call it. It has to be notarized, or at least the official copy from the university. And your degree certificate has to be notarized, or official copy of the degree certificate that you received. Passport, copy of valid passport, okay, for identification. A motivation letter, we'd recommend that the motivation letter be not more than 300 or 400 words. that it, you know, present yourself present yourself in a nice way. You can talk about your academic accomplishments, and also focus on what you want to do while you're here. So if you have an idea for research, it's very important that you talk about that in the motivation letter. We also get a lot of questions about this sample essay that we'd like to read. So this really just to give us an idea of how much you already know about the field that you're interested in, whether it be music therapy or music perception research or music technology. So it's important to us that you've already read something about the field, and you know, just to have an opinion about it. Maybe, you know, you can give a summary of what you've read and maybe give some perspective on it.
If I could add something there, because it was quite a late decision for us to apply, and I had only just discovered that music psychology was this big area of research. You know, I didn't have a lot of prior knowledge, but it was very easy to find some really interesting articles and summarize some thoughts and think about past experience and what I knew from popular science. So I wouldn't let that put you off too much if you're making a change into this, especially into the MMT program. You know, don't let the essay phase you, because it's just a matter of finding some good quality articles online, having a nice thoughtful response to those and sharing that.
Right, and that's exactly why we're open to what type of article you choose. So obviously it can be some journal article if you've already done some work at university on the subject, but it can be something that you've read about in a magazine or a blog post that you found really interesting. So you know, like we like to stay current. So we're open to like new forms of distributing knowledge, you know, blogs or podcasts. Or any of these things. So yeah, we're very open about the source that you, from where you take the you know, your article, but the perspective is important as well, and kind of like how you write about it. That tells us a lot about how much you already know about it. Recommendation letter. That's one recommendation letter from someone you think, someone who thinks highly of you. Hopefully, that's to be included. And selection process is that we will assess the application documents. As I said, the language is really a strong one here. It's not really our choice, but it's the choice of the university. That it's very important to them that they admit students with a certain level of English proficiency. So that's a big component. But we also evaluate a lot based on the essay. And general enthusiasm, so the motivation letter helps a lot. And then in the interview, it's as much a chance for you to get to know us as it is for us to get to know you. So I don't think we'll be able to invite everyone for an interview, depending on the number of applications we get. But this is like the final step in our selection process. And then we have some scores for everything, and we evaluate the application and the interview based on these. So the interview, I'd say it's evaluative, but it's also largely informative. So we really want to let you know about the program as well. So we invite questions from the applicants during the interview as well. Okay, so that's the application procedure. It's roughly the same for both programs. If in case you'd like to apply to both programs, music therapy and MMT, then you're going to have to submit 2 applications. So while we're together and there's this nice, you know, collective of both programs, in the end they are separate programs. So you have to choose a major, or you can apply to both. Tracy had a point.
Yeah, there's a current question related to what you're talking about here. What are the musical skills requirements specifically for the music therapy program, and how many students are enrolled each year to the program?
Officially, there are none. requirements.
No,
No official. You have
audition.
It doesn't have to have a degree, or there is no audition. From our field, in our group, there's nobody who does not do music, though.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps. And but because in music therapy, it's not about being a performer or a perfect musician. It's more about that you can utilize the instrument that we have in a therapeutic way, and these are things you can partly learn. Also here, I mean, like for example, Jenna and another classmate of us, they're having workshops going on where we talk about different possibilities during improvisations, for example, and what are techniques that we can use to, if we have a certain situation that might be tricky for us. So these are things that we do that you have to do then in that sense on yourself if you want to get a bit more expertise.
So there's a lot of peer support, and like Connor's giving guitar lessons
Yes.
to the music therapists who want to skill up as musicians. So there's an awful lot of stuff that happens outside of the curriculum based on what the group wants and who in the group is able to provide those skills.
Yeah.
And you can do things like that for extra credits as well. So it's a win-win.
But it's quite different from like other therapy programs, because a lot of programs require basic guitar and piano skills, and there's auditions and stuff like this. And so it's quite different, but it's really nice because everyone brings in everyone is, in our class at least, is very talented and proficient in different ways. Is that a baby?
Maybe you should explain the sounds, Mark.
Show us the baby.
Maybe later. 3 babies here.
So it's a different approach, but it works really nicely. So you don't have to stress out about if you're not like super good at a certain instrument, or there's no audition. But of course, this is music therapy, so you need to.
Yeah, I think that could be related to the application as well. So you know, like if you don't have any musical training, that's fine. But don't put in your application that you're interested in doing a project that would involve you playing music. If you know what I mean. So you know, like we want to know what you're already good at and see if that'll fit with us. So like don't be so ambitious that you'll want to, you know, if you've never done any computer science or no programming, don't put in your application that you're interested in doing a project on music information retrieval. Say that you're interested in doing something humanities based. We really want to know what you're already good at and what skills you could bring to the program.
And in terms of how many are enrolled each year to the program, Mark?
We're allowed to enroll 35
across the 2 masters?
Across both programs. So it's just something we've set so that each program can have 15 plus or minus 2. And it usually ends up around that time. This year, the MMT had less students than usual. And the music therapy has 16, I think.
17.
Sorry?
17.
17, okay, yeah.
Can I just add on the music skills requirement? I guess the Music Mind Technology program is a bit similar in that we've got a range of musical skills. I guess most of us play music of some sort, but it's not a requirement. A couple of people are more kind of sound engineer background or a DJing background even, not so much musicians. Depending on how you define a DJ, that's
or a musician.
Or a musician.
They're still musicians.
But there are definitely, as Tracy sort of alluded to, lots of opportunities to play music here and to kind of develop your skills as well. Not so much maybe in the Music Mind Technology course, we don't sort of perform as much, except there's a music technology concert which we do as part of our music technology studies. And you can find videos of that concert up on the website for the Music Mind Technology program. But there are also ensembles that you can play with here. We've got university choirs, university orchestra. Some of the music psychology students in the past year or so have started an Irish band, which you've been performing with. So there's definitely opportunities to perform and to work as a musician. I've been conducting a choir here, so there's conducting opportunities even.
But I think the key thing is that it utilizes the skills that you already have. So it's a pretty cool concept if you kind of embrace it.
And I think in the last round we received about 100 applications and admitted 35. So
that makes us feel good.
35% success rate.
Okay, there's a couple of new questions, Mark, if you want to pick.
Yeah. At what point in the course do students have to maybe decide a research question? What are some research topic expertise interests of the faculty? Okay, that's a good question. So, you know, this varies as well. Some students come in with a very, very clear idea of what they want to do. Some students come in with not so good an idea what they want to do, and both are perfectly fine, actually. So we decide that the topics are confirmed probably by the end of the first year, and that's also when we confirm who the advisors will be. So all students get a primary advisor and a secondary advisor from the faculty. But this could also be someone outside the faculty. So the person who was asking about collaborating with the computer science department, that could be a situation where your main advisor would be in the music department, and the secondary advisor could be in the IT department or something. So yeah, but by the end of the first year, we expect students to have a thesis topic, and the second year is more focused on working on the thesis topic. And what are some research topic expertise interests of the faculty? Well, they're kind of the ones that I mentioned at first. I could go through them a bit more. So we have a professor who's funded by the Academy of Finland currently. He's on a 5-year project, Professor Petri Toiviainen. Kind of dabbles in a lot of different things in the department. But I'd say his expertise currently is music and neuroscience, and music and movement, and how those two play a role with each other, maybe trying to find connections between both of them. His interest in music and neuroscience is mostly on analyzing the parts of the brain that get lit up by music when we listen to it. And he's working with lots of different teams nationally and internationally on that topic. Some for the MMT side going on, some people are interested in music and emotions, done both on a humanities side and on a more of a scientific side. And there's currently a research project going on music and sadness. So a question there could be like, why do people listen to music that makes them sad when they feel sad already? Or what is the role of sad music? Will it make you feel better? Will it make you feel worse? And that, you know, that has to do with music and mood regulation. And there are some people interested in music and culture. So we also have some ethnomusicologists in the department doing studies with different types of African music, but also involved in studying music of northern Finland. So the Sami people who live in Finland have interesting musical culture. So that's studied here as well. What did I miss? Oh, and music computing. So again, this music information retrieval topic is quite popular at the university. We've created a toolbox for analyzing digital audio within the MATLAB environment called the MIR Toolbox, which has been quite successful. It's gotten many downloads since it was created about I guess 6 or 8 years ago, something like that. So that's a big area of research as well, and there may be there's maybe 2 or 3 PhD students and postdocs working in music information retrieval here at the moment. And maybe for the music therapy side, if you could, Jenna and Felix, if you could mention how that breaks down the research interests of the music therapy professors.
Both of the main professors have done a lot of work with. They're both music psychotherapists, and they've done a lot of work with a range of clients, adolescents,
elderly people, stroke patients.
There's a depression study done here, studying music improvisation with working age people with depression. The stroke study was currently
still going on. So it's a study about patients in post-stroke rehabilitation, where we're implementing music therapy techniques, and there's like our own principle developed here, which is currently still ongoing, and also partly funded, for example, by the Finnish insurance. How do you say? Society, Kela. This
Kela Foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm part of a research group that's exploring heart rate variability and breathing in music therapy. So how does doing different breathing techniques before the music affect the outcome as compared to using this like vibroacoustic chair? It's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, vibroacoustic or physioacoustic is also a big field that has been done here, as this is quite a very young part of music therapy part, and where here it's developing a quite big standard actually for this kind of studies as well.
But really, whatever you're interested in, you kind of have this working grounds to, if you make the right connections and find folks to work with, you can really work with whoever you want. I mean, besides maybe it's hard to work in a hospital to do a music therapy group or any work in a hospital, but schools, preschools, you can really make whatever you want to do happen.
I would also add, just if you keep an eye on our social media pages, we do share not just published journals, but links to articles in the popular media that describe some of the research interests that are happening. So if you find, I know Giselle, your question was for MMT, so we have the MMT Facebook page. We have a joint program Google page and a Twitter page, and we'll share those links here as well. But we are all over the internet sharing the research ideas, so plenty of things for you to read.
Yeah. Also, you can look at pages that summarize a past master's thesis, so you can find out what past students have done. This whole program is kind of an experiment from day one, and it's designed in a way that's very bottom up. So we kind of see what we have, and the theory behind the program kind of happens afterwards, right? So we have like all these different areas within the department. We're not sure exactly how they all play along with each other, and it's only afterwards that we can come up with this idea of the program. So it really helps to look at individually what the past students are doing, what researchers are doing.
And also bear in mind what Miko was saying earlier about the keenness to move into more research in wearable technology and interactive new musical interfaces. That is identified as a key direction that they really want to strengthen going forward.
Yeah, we're also very strong in music and movement research. I forgot to mention that, but we do a lot of research with our motion capture system, looking at different parts of the body, how they coordinate to music synchronization while dancing to music, or synchronization while performing music with someone. So we do experiments on both musicians and on dancers. And I think we're fairly well respected for our research here. Okay, so the next question is, I'm interested in the MMT program. What are the possible next steps, career options after master's and the PhD? This is a big question that we get, especially when your program is quite unique. So I think our program is predominantly designed to prepare people for PhDs. So immediately afterwards, I would say like the next logical step would be to do a PhD, either here or at one of our collaborating institutions throughout Europe and around the world, wherever you find an advisor that you like. But of course, not everyone in the program wants to do a PhD. So then like the career path becomes a little more messy. So there's no music mind technology industry, as I said this morning. So a lot of times you have to kind of find your own path of what you want to do with the master's program. A few examples come to mind of people who have not completed a PhD afterwards, but have gone on to have very successful careers. We've had people who've become professional writers. We have someone who's become a professional proofreader, and actually after completing the program, they settle in Jyväskylä, and now they proofread papers for PhD candidates and other people working at the university. And another example is this girl from Hong Kong who did her degree here. She was interested in music education and came up with a new way of teaching music theory, or like piloted this way of teaching music theory to a general classroom of students. And then she got a job in Hong Kong as a music teacher. So we're not an education program, and yet she was able to use this degree to get a teaching job in her home country. And Tracy, maybe you want to talk about your experience, because I think you're also a good example of people who aren't interested in doing PhDs.
Yeah, it's been interesting being back in academia. I was saying earlier this morning, I'd been working in business. I'd been working in IT for years, then running a business for years. So it's been great to be back in academia, but I'm kind of itching to get back to business as well when I finish the master's. Never say never with a PhD, but my immediate plans are to just, well, to create online courses now. One of my big motivations for joining this course was to become better at analysing and critiquing popular science articles. In the coaching field, there's an awful lot of science that gets shared that isn't really that scientific. There are exaggerated claims made, and they get repeated in books and become kind of this body of coaching knowledge. And I wanted to learn how to debunk a lot of that and how to get better at picking the good information from the bad. So this was an academic detour in a way to give me the skills to apply directly back into the business. So I want to create online courses, create ebooks, and basically use the scientific academic skills from here. And I also want to incorporate music even more into my training and coaching work. Kind of linked to that research question from before as well, I knew what I wanted to do straight away, which was to do an active research project, figuring out how music could be used alongside positive psychology and mindfulness techniques to boost people's well-being. So I've been really able to shape this master's to suit my career goals. It's not a case of do the master's and figure out what to do next. This year, for example, I'm not doing very many music courses. They've been more psychology based. I am doing a Finnish folk class. That was so I could learn to play the kantala and then use the kantala, a traditional Finnish harp, in my well-being project for my thesis. And I'm doing a little bit on music and culture just for the interest of it. But mostly my course this year, I've been very free to choose psychology and other cognitive psychology things that are directly useful for my future career. So it's been brilliant, the flexibility of it and shaping it for my goals.
Yeah, so I think people who come here with the goal of, of not doing a PhD, it's kind of a pit stop on their road to whatever they were doing anyway, right? And that's how they work it to their advantage. And because the program is quite flexible, like Tracy, she's able to, to form the program to her advantage so that she can get from the program what she wants from it. So I'd say that the career options aren't always so clear, but if you have an idea of what you want to do, then you can make the program work for you, you know, and use it as a pit stop on your path to whatever you want to do.
Just even to mention then some of the other MMT students who aren't here, we do have people who are like sound engineers or producers. So here they've had access to really world-class facilities. Even musicians in the course, you know, we have had recording projects where we've been able to record our own music. So people can use this course to further a musician career, you know, whether or not that's the main career or, you know, something in the music industry as well. Definitely is very varied. I'm trying to think who else in our course has a clear idea of where they are going next.
Has a clear idea. I'm much more standard. I'm sort of looking to do a PhD when I finish here.
And
so,
after the PhD, do you envisage staying in academia anywhere as a researcher?
Ideally, yeah, I'd quite like to go into academia, but I don't think there's probably not many of us who are sort of with their heart set on academia so much. There's definitely people with more kind of music industry ideas, or you know, working in music technology somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, also a former student who already had quite an extensive background in computer science went on to work at Nokia for a year or so. So that's, you know, I can't really take credit for him getting a job at Nokia because he obviously already had a lot of the knowledge he needed. But he worked in the Nokia in the kind of in the audio and music section of Nokia. So yeah, I mean, there are lots of possibilities of jobs you can get afterwards. But it's not like a clear path.
I'm just thinking there's a lot of jobs showing up now in the music industry from people like Spotify, where they're really interested in big data and data mining and things like how to categorize music. So a lot of the information retrieval stuff that you talked about earlier, using computers to pinpoint features of music that make them similar to other pieces of music, that underpins a lot of the websites and music services that we use, like Last.fm and Spotify and Pandora, that says, well, if you like this artist, you probably like this. So if you're interested in that side of things, this could be a really cool way to get some very specific skills that would make you eminently hireable by some of those big music industry companies. And things like the course has been useful for signposting us to different professional groups that we can join. So things like the ISMIR, so International Society for Music Information Retrieval. You know, Mark, you shared links to us very early on in the course about joining their Google group, and people will post ads and PhD opportunities on there. And obviously by us being part of this course, we're getting some of the skills that would be useful. So there's a lot of useful signposting that you can follow up on. And since you have good access to your supervisors here, I mean, yes, you might set your research question quite early in the year, but you're also allowed to change it, and a lot of people do. And it may be that as you get more and more experience in certain fields, that you start spotting job opportunities or career opportunities, and you end up adjusting your thesis to match that path as well. So again, flexibility is a huge benefit.
On you know, professional networks, I should jump in and say that we're hosting a conference here next year.
Yes.
It's the Students of Systematic Musicology Conference, or SISMUS 2016, which will be here in the department next June. So if you're interested in meeting a whole range of other student researchers, it'll be all masters and PhD researchers from around Europe and around the world. We'll all be here next June, so you can get a taste of the department and a taste of systematic musicology research and sort of related fields in music psychology. They'll all be here, so I can recommend that one. I'll put the link up.
Okay, maybe is this an easy question now? What is the best thing about the program in your opinion?
For me, it's learning with people from all over the world. And with music therapy, that's never a bad thing. You know, the multicultural aspect of music therapy is so valuable.
I mean, it's a huge thing that this is free as well. I don't want to sound like it's just about the money. That was the main reason for coming here, just because I wouldn't have had a budget to go back to university. But yeah, I totally agree that the international element of it has been very useful. I was an Erasmus student back in 1997, so I got a little taste of it, but it's been really educational in many ways being here, and we've made good friends, and we'll get very teary when it all comes to an end, I'm sure. But for me, yeah, just being able to sign up for courses that are directly useful, as I said earlier, for my career, and just build my own course has been amazing. It's nice to have the freedom to tweak it to be exactly what I need, so I've appreciated that.
I think for me as well, it's the internationality, because it's something you learn to appreciate when you learn from so many different perspectives, and you have because there are many people are from different backgrounds, and you always get a different view on the subject you're talking about at the moment. Either if it's a part of music therapy or something that we have together with the MMT people, and it's great to have people like Jenna who worked before as a music therapist for that part, for example, but also people who come from a completely different field and may come from more psychological field or from a more musician stance, which is brilliant. So it's not only the culture as such, but it's also all these different personalities and backgrounds who actually give you yourself so much.
Yeah, like right now I'm doing a group at a school with a woman who was a teacher in Hong Kong. So I have this music therapy background. She has a teacher background. We're from different parts of the world, and doing a group with 7 and 8-year-olds from all around the world. It's like something that, yeah, is really
So much
Magical.
pretty amazing.
I guess for me, one of the reasons I came here was the facilities, I suppose, because I really wanted to use the motion capture lab in my research, and I'm doing one of these sort of music and movement studies, looking at dancers and how they're synchronizing to music together in a social dance space. So the facilities are great, but actually I'd probably echo what others have said, and it's actually the people who kind of make it. It's the team we have here, and it is so naff. But it is like it's great working with just even the other students in the program, because everyone does bring their own perspectives, and I think we learn a lot from each other.
And I think we should say as well, the Finns are awesome. You mentioned already, Mark, we've hardly any Finns in the course. We've one in music therapy, but as a positive generalization, the Finns have been helpful, friendly, welcoming. You read all these stereotypes before you come here about how they don't do small talk, and it's nonsense. From the day we got picked up from the train, I think our first day, we had many long, energetic conversations with many lovely Finns. But yeah, like it's a country I knew very little about before I came here. It's been wonderful getting to know a new country. There's a lot of things now that I'll miss when I'm away, and it's nice to, when I see Finland in the news, it will mean something more now because of the experience here, and definitely made some very good friends here, and I think I could be a happy ambassador for Finland now going forward.
Okay, good. Well, I also enjoy the people here, and I think it's
You married one.
yeah, well, that's true. But I mean, especially in the program, like it's I'm serious. It's really exceptional to come to work every day and get to work and work with and even become friends with such a extraordinary, nice and intelligent people. And I think whenever we get visiting researchers in the department, they really are impressed with how well everyone gets along in the department. So I think I think it's an exceptional place and a very special place and a very open place, and yeah, I think it's a nice place to be.
That was one of the first things that struck me, I think, when moving here, because I was interested in music psychology beforehand, but it really wasn't something that my old university did so much. There were just a handful of us who had interest there. Coming here and just meeting so many people with such kind of similar research interests to myself was just very inspiring, I think. And yeah, there's a great kind of energy in the halls, and there's a good number of people who are all kind of working together in this space. It does have a very nice vibe in the department. And we have good common areas, and all the Finnish students in the department, because there are bachelor's programs here which are conducted in Finnish. And it's been great meeting some of the other music students who study in the department, not from our own programs. It's got a very nice culture.
And because everyone's coming from far away, we kind of have to support each other. It's like, yeah, you're kind of all thrown into this together. So
if you've ever seen the extras DVD from Lord of the Rings, where the extras talk about filming the Battle of Helm's Deep, and they said that filming lasted for a month, and it was very cold, and it was very wet, and it was very dark, and at the end they all got t-shirts saying, "I survived the Battle of Helm's Deep." I think surviving your first Finnish winter together is a strong bonding exercise, and then you feel like you've earned your sisu and you can cope with the cold anywhere. But obviously there's a culture shock in moving to a very different country, and that's something that gets asked about a lot. And it's something the university are very aware of, and they have a lot of student well-being services, lectures on culture shock when you first arrive in your first week. And as was mentioned this morning, there's a very strong mentor system where you can have, if you want, a Finnish student allocated to you to pick you up from the train station, bring you to the bank, bring you to the police station, you know, help you with all the settling and stuff. And they're all picked because they're warm and outgoing and friendly and lovely. So that's a fantastic kind of thing for settling in. So yes, there will always be culture shock when you move abroad to study, but it is a very supportive environment here, and that makes a huge difference.
Actually, the University of Jyväskylä really prides itself on its orientation program. So those first couple of weeks, getting international students kind of integrated into the community and helping you find your accommodation and sort out your bank accounts and all that kind of stuff. And it was actually, I think the university was rated the best in Europe for its orientation of international students. So they do take that quite seriously, and the tutoring or mentoring program is a big part of that. You're at least guaranteed to have one Finnish friend at the start of the semester. Because
the first day.
First day. They pick you up from the train station and they'll just follow you around. It's lovely.
I think maybe tied to this topic is the whole issue of language. And you mentioned before that there are some basic requirements in learning the Finnish language, but I think it's important to note that Finland has a very high standard of English, and you really can get by with the most rudimentary Finnish. So if you have time and energy and interest in learning Finnish, you will be well supported. You'll get plenty of opportunities to really dig into your studies with free classes here, which is a brilliant resource itself. If, on the other hand, you feel like language isn't a strong point, you're sure you don't want to stay, and you're just concerned about passing the modules, again, there's good support. There are great online resources you can use, but in your day-to-day life, don't be put off by thinking, I'll have to speak Finnish all the time. You really won't. Aside from the mentors that will take you to places, things like with the health service, you can ring a particular phone number that's got dedicated English speakers. So in an emergency, you can speak to someone who speaks English. Most people that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis can speak English very well, even though they might be very modest about it. So don't let the language put you off.
And I think the Finnish class is mainly aimed at just helping people get to know like the country and be involved. It's not so much like you're expected to really learn.
I think it's open to interpretation.
I see what you mean, because it's very much a...
Like, I'm happy that I can order coffee and talk to the lady at the gym a little bit and maybe ask for directions.
Yes, and Finnish for hey is hey. So you already speak one word of Finnish.
Yeah, it's certainly nice to learn, to learn a bit of Finnish, and it's really nice to be able to, have a bit of basic conversation. And Finns are delighted if you can speak any Finnish to them. Just kiitos gets you a long way, which is thank you in Finnish. I think you're already learning.
Okay, so yeah, next question brings us to, we can end with a bit of practical stuff. So will a Singaporean survive the Finnish winter?
A Singaporean has survived.
There's a Singaporean in the program, and she's not dead yet, as far as I'm aware.
In fact, the most traumatized, I think, was our friend from the Bahamas, who arrived here and couldn't quite believe how cold it was. And she's full of the joys of life this year as well. She's fully adjusted now. But yeah, we talked about this a bit earlier on, but Finnish homes are well insulated. And in many of our home countries, Ireland particularly, we're used to very, very wet weather, but you never properly dry out because we don't have dry homes very often. Here, your laundry will dry overnight. So as long as you dress appropriately, and the Finns say there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. Get yourself a warm, windproof coat. Get decent footwear. A lot of people go for thermal long johns. I just go cheap and go for an extra pair of tights under jeans, and it's fine. So yeah, trust us, you'll be fine.
More the darkness, they say. That's like it's not as cold as you may think, but it does get very dark.
So that's where you want your vitamin D with folic acid, which helps you absorb vitamin D, and maybe think about some daylight therapy lamps. We got some from the UK that are cheaper than they are here, but you can buy them here as well. So joking aside, seasonal affective disorder is a real thing and can affect people, but again, if you're prepared.
We're all surviving.
Yeah.
But also, an important point is to be active also during the winter. I mean, there are many opportunities in winter that come with the winter, like for if you go for winter sports, there where you have opportunities here, but also just really be active, do sports, go outside, go with friends, go out, and not just like because of the darkness, just not let it like fill you up, but rather embrace this really nice flair that it has, unless it's November where there's no snow and just maybe only rain and dark. But November will go over and things will be fine. And I try to embrace it rather than keep it like getting on you.
Yeah, this is the really, really cool things is that nothing stops here in Finland. Even like there's a meter of snow and the buses will still run, the trains will still run. People will go outside and play sports, and you'll still be cycling. I still cycle in the winter. I think many of us do. The roads are a bit icy, but if you're careful, it's fine.
We've all probably fallen too.
I've fallen off.
And the snow is beautiful.
Snow is beautiful. I'm from Australia. We don't get snow. This is this is very exciting.
The snow does brighten it up as well. So that darkness thing is instantly improved as soon as the snow hits, because everything that the light that is there is reflected back, and it becomes very, very Christmas card and pretty. And if you've seen improves when the snow arrives.
If you've seen those images of a kind of winter wonderland in Christmas cards, that's pretty much where we live.
Yes.
And the Northern Lights. Speaking of cards, we've all seen the Northern Lights this semester as well. And there are a lot of organised travel opportunities as well. So through the International Erasmus Student Network, you can take day trips or weekend trips probably to places like St. Petersburg or up to Lapland. So there are a lot of ways that you can build in things to really look forward to that, again, embrace everything that's wonderful about Finland. It's very, very good on forests and lakes, and it is a very outdoorsy place. So if that suits you, then you're going to love it here. But even if you are a homebody, as I said, the apartments are cozy, and you can, stay warm and comfortable and happy over the winter.
Yeah. It can be minus 30 degrees outside, and it'll still be plus 20 inside. So houses are really very well heated. And the minus 30 isn't so bad if you dress for it.
Yeah. I think we hit minus 24.
I think it was minus
27.
I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been in Chicago, and that prepared me for being here. There's a lot less falling icicles here. Chicago was just daggers of ice everywhere, but
I feel like
it's good here.
Yeah, New York winter was worse than this for some reason.
Damper, maybe.
Yeah.
It's darkness, I think.
Yeah, Irish winter felt colder just because it was so damp. Here, the dryness makes a huge difference.
So in conclusion, it snows.
Not so bad.
But it's like this dry snow. It's not so bad.
Just don't go to the Irish.
But what about the beautiful Finnish summer, though?
Sauna.
Oh, sauna. Okay.
Sauna.
Yeah. It's the best way to keep warm. Sauna.
Of course.
All year round.
Or find a Finn to snuggle up with.
Or bring your own man to snuggle with.
Yeah, but the summer is quite beautiful, though, I'd say. So I think now we're in the most difficult part of the year, because it's it's very dark, and it hasn't really started to snow. The snow hasn't stuck yet. So now it's very dark. And once the snow comes, it'll be a bit lighter.
Yeah, because the other side of the kind of eternal darkness of winter is the eternal day of summer. So do stick around for a Finnish summer if you do come here.
Yeah.
Because it's quite, yeah. It's very nice and green and sunny.
You just lose track on the partying because it's like, I don't know, it's midnight and you're like, yeah, it could be like 9.
Yeah, it's you can't really party till the sun comes up because it never sets in the first place. So, yeah.
Which is good.
Pretty magical.
Because you have time in the summer because nobody's working.
You just go swimming in the lakes and hang out in the sauna. It's beautiful.
Can you tell we're overtired today, Mark? Everybody's like, oh,
it's great.
It's great. Come to
join us.
Mark bakes great cookies.
Oh, Mark does make good. They're all gone.
We could show them to you, but someone snuggled them all.
I'll have to make some more. I made them with my 4-year-old, so it's all her.
We might have to edit this video for YouTube.
Anyone else sent in any questions? Has anyone got anything?
Oh, just a thank you
Someone learned how to say
sending your questions.
Thanks, Julia.
I really appreciate people taking time to tune in and send questions.
Sorry.
Dankeschön.
That's fine too. All right. Currently answering. Kiitos. Okay. Kiitos. Oli hyvä.
Maybe we should just mention that we'll pull together a document of the most frequently asked questions and publish that online, I think. And we'll be able to put a link to that then in the video descriptions.
Yeah.
We are going to go home after this and call it a night, but we'll pick up tomorrow and kind of add annotations and useful links and things like that. So if you missed both Hangouts, you'll still be able to watch them on YouTube, and we will add lots of useful links, expanding on everything that we talked about here and other questions that came in for the previous one.
And you can always find us like on Facebook and just ask us any questions.
Yeah, we just don't exist in this video. Yeah, please ask any more questions you had. This morning we focused a lot on student life and how much it costs to live in Finland, and maybe we don't have to go into detail about that now, but that's in the other video, and it's also, you know, easy information to find. So you can ask us, or again, like when we make up this document, we could include all that stuff.
And I think there'll be a lot of details about housing in the document, but yeah, accommodation pretty straightforward, and the student accommodation is, you know, quite cheap, I find, relative to Australia at least.
Yeah, it all goes in under this umbrella of like the university being well set up to admit students from international places. So like your rent will include, if you live in the student housing, your rent will include everything. You won't have to pay for anything extra, or water or internet or any of these things.
Even sauna is included in the rent.
The public ones.
The public sauna. Also,
Which is enough.
Yeah, or the UK or America.
And the student cafeterias are pretty good too, and you get a fairly decent sized meal for €2.60. It's a flat rate for student meals on campus. So it's
Health center is free.
Health center is free for students. There's a student health center.
You can get a sports sticker for about €30–35, and then you can take part in a lot of different classes, drop in and out of them.
Yeah,
you get a lot of discounts also in different shops, like not only university-wise, but like all Finland.
Yeah, Finland is a very good place to be a student. They look after students here. They value education a lot, so that really comes out in the culture. And then with the sports, Jyväskylä is the only university in Finland that has a sports department. They have great.
We sound like we want, or we just like other people's babies.
Yeah. You came to peek in.
Yes.
Come.
Future MMT graduate. Hey.
Moi.
Mr. Kulu.
All right. If you move here, this might happen to you.
Oh boy.
It is not uncommon for people to move to Finland. They fall in love with a wonderful thing and then not leave.
Okay, monster.
You're asking what you do after an MMT course. This is pretty much
This free education is just a ruse to get us to come in and grow the population.
All right. Okay. Maybe we can call it a night.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
We're just talking to each other.
Yeah.
Just catching up.
Live to ourselves.
I think that's what we do most of the time.
Okay,
Alright.
final words, Kumasabi.
No, well, hopefully we've convinced some of you to apply at least, and we're very happy. It's a good place to be. And again, if you have any questions, you already know how to contact us if you found us.
I don't know what is happening with the video here. It's like disco mode. So yeah, we'll maybe stop the broadcast now. But thanks again very much to everybody who took part.
Thanks for stopping by. Nice to meet you.
You take care now.
Yeah.
Stay classy.
See you in
See you in Finland next June. Come to Sismus.
Yes. Bye bye.
Okay. Good night.
Hey,
Bye
hey.
bye.
Bye.